only live once, my friend.
Oh, don't you YOLO me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I'm 100% Outfitted Gold. I'm Cameron James. Joining me, as always, from the beginning, just Matt.
Yeah, I told you there's going to be some weekends coming up where
I know.
Matt's not going to be here. Matt's going to be like glued to his PlayStation 5.
Bro, you got
Gonna be
so
an
long
antisocial.
until that happens.
This week is October 1st. We got about a month, a little over a month.
All right, fine. I guess
It's not that far. It's not that far.
Apparently, Xbox had the same fucking bullshit issue.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Let's talk about that because that was really funny.
They had the same exact issues as PlayStation did.
Yeah, I think it's really funny because when obviously Sony fucked up. Well, it wasn't Sony; it was all the retailers that fucked up, and then just were like, "Yeah, YOLO, we're just gonna let you pre-order your PlayStation 5s," and it just caused chaos, and that was really bad. And at least Sony tweeted and was like, "Yeah, we're gonna fix it." But Microsoft had 2 weeks to prepare,
Mm-hmm.
and then as soon as that shit goes live, websites are crashing and people aren't getting pre-orders.
But that's not really like Microsoft and Sony's fault. It's more of like the retailer's fault, wouldn't you think?
Yes, in truth, but still, it's like it's because all I ever my my source for news is just looking at everything on Reddit. And after the PlayStation thing happened, Microsoft subreddit was just cracking up. They're like, "Look at this, it's so funny." And then the same fucking thing happens for you guys too. Like it was gonna happen. I mean. Yeah. And if it didn't, that would be really bad. Like if everybody was very able to easily get Xboxes and they were available 2 or 3 hours later, that might not be a good thing.
I'm just surprised that they didn't come up. Again, you don't blame them. Like they tell the retailers pretty much, "Hey, look, on this day, we're going to be releasing this new console where you can pre-order it. Make sure, and then as a retailer, it should be their responsibility to be like, okay, what could happen? Well, our system could crash, our server could crash, the checkout might not obviously work. Because let's say you have 1,000 pre-orders and you have 2,000 people trying to do it and everyone hit fucking, check out at the same fucking time.
That's why it's you have these security features. I mean, when the PlayStation ones went live, GameStop's website got flooded so badly that it was like they thought it was like a DDoS attack. They thought it was like a cyber terrorism attack because of how quickly it was flooding. And that happens because they're just not expecting so many people to flood their website at one time. There's a general amount of traffic you're expecting, and it just fucked them. And they were like, "Oh, I guess we're being hacked or something." Oh shit, that's right. PlayStations are available. But I think it's even funnier too how there's going to be a lot of upset kids at Christmas this year because apparently, on Amazon at least, the sales of the Xbox One X and S went up by almost 800% that day.
I saw that. But that's what we talked about before, where it's really bad name name labeling. There's no other way. One S.
That's why
One X.
You have an Xbox One S and an Xbox One X, and you have an Xbox Series S and an Xbox Series S.
They literally changed one word, series and one.
But that's just it. The amount of fucking confusion that will cause to the people who are not directly buying it. If I'm buying it, I know which one I need because I'm the end user. I'm the person that's going to be purchasing it directly. But for all these young people out there, these fucking kids who are going to ask for this shit for Christmas, it's going to be a lot of disappointment.
I also heard. Let me see. I don't know if this is right. I also had heard that the Series S, they didn't make a lot of pre-orders for it. The amount that they expected was really low. I thought I had read somewhere where so pretty much Xbox was kind of saying, I should say Microsoft was kind of saying hey, the Series X is our next system, but we also have this other thing, but you might not be able to pre-order it because we don't know how much we're going to actually sell of it.
Right. And I guess the same thing kind of happened with the PS5 because they're it's 80-20 on pre-orders. It's 80% disc-based ones and 20% digital. But this is more than likely just by design from the people that are, from Microsoft and Sony. It's just by design. So they don't want to go all in on these different consoles and then think that people are going to go crazy for them. It's just wait and see. So if the pre-orders for them are good, okay, well then we'll produce more and more and more, and then we'll see how that goes and then just go with the flow. But it's better to have, especially for something like that, when you're not really 100% sure if people want to go like all digital or go for a lower price point, make less and then see what happens. If they sell really, really fucking well and then there's no stock, it's like, well, shit, now make more and then go that way.
I mean, I'll probably end up at some point owning both consoles, but then again, I might not because I have this little PC that's sitting underneath this PC that I bought. Yeah. And, it does the same. I was talking to Vitaly about it. I was like, why would I even get an Xbox when I could almost play every game on my computer?
I feel like that's kind of the point.
He's like, no, you can't. I'm like, all right, fine. Like, I can't. But, like, you get the point. If I can't play it on a PC, I could probably play it on PlayStation. So, to have a third. And, it's fun. I mean, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. I mean, I guess just to lug it out because I always keep it tucked away. So, but other than that, the gaming laptop's nice. It's a good thing to have.
Yeah, well, that's why you get a taste of the other world, but you still be able to play all those first party titles on your PC if you want to. Yeah. Like if you really wanted to, you probably could play the next full Gears of War title. You could play Halo Infinite. It's just you're not going to be able to play it at like the most high end settings. You're going to have to play it on like mid or low, but you'll still be able to play it. That's the whole point of like Microsoft's ecosystem is that you can play. If you got a really cool, Windows PC, you can play your shit over there, and then you can just cross save it and go play it on your Xbox, which is good. They've kind of cornered the market on that shit, and they do it really well. But,
yeah, so I'm guessing my PC then probably is going to be the same. It's probably similar to the specs of the Series S. I don't have my exact specs in front of me or the S, but like just based on like you were saying, like it is a gaming PC obviously, but it was only $1,000, so. If people are like, what's a lot of money? Well, for a game PC, everybody knows it's not. That's like the bottom of the barrel. Like, hey, you can play the games now just fine. They might not look, top of the line. But at the end of the day, for me, like, even when I play them, I'm like, this looks great. Like, I don't know how much better it could possibly look. And honestly, I might not even realize it.
Yeah, I don't give, as much as I used to, I don't give, because when we were kids, we probably did it more. But, like, I don't give games as much shit as I used to about graphics. That's probably one of the things that I'm least concerned about when I get a game these days. Like pretty much everything looks pretty fucking good to some degree. It might not just be the most realistic, but if it's a game where it's got cartoony graphics, it's like, well, how good is the color? Does it pop? What is it? Is it appealing to look at? Granted, there are things where you look at it and you go, okay, this doesn't look that great, but everything else is really awesome. So I'm just focused more on the bigger picture than just how it looks,
Right, which actually leads us pretty well into, what have we been playing segment, because obviously I'm still playing The Order 1886. And again, we talked about that game looks awesome. I mean,
it's incredible. Yeah.
and it's an older game. It's what, five years old now, maybe?
Yeah, I think that was like 2015.
The Order.
I was going to say it's got to be like 2015 or 16.
And it's a fun game. I mean, it came out in 2015, but like, the fact that Metacritic has a 63%, again, you said it before, it must be how long it takes. I mean, I'm not far in the game at all. I've probably played the game maybe 2 or 3 hours. I just got to chapter 7 when the big air balloon thing crashes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, but I mean, I might say, hey, I'm 3 hours in, but I think I'm probably about halfway through it because I know the game's only like 5 or 6 hours long.
Yeah.
So I'm probably halfway through it anyway, but the game didn't deserve to get the, negative feedback as it did. Because if you look at it and you compare it to Resident Evil 3, they're probably the same fucking length game. And Resident Evil 3, I'm sure has a higher.
I would say that's probably like in the 80s on Metacritic, or like very high 70s.
Let's see. I'm just curious because now that we're talking about it, it's like it's bullshit because it was a good game. I'm enjoying it right now and I think it's fun, but it doesn't, deserve. Probably it has a 79 on Metacritic is what.
Okay, so pretty much there. Yeah, that's just I think that just was what pissed a lot of people off is they said, man, I just spent $60 on this game and I only had it for 5 hours. And I get that. 2015, I definitely was, I was still working, I was still at GameStop. I wasn't really making that much money. So to drop $60 on something and only have it last 5 hours was a little disappointing. But that being said, everything else about the game was really fucking fun. So And I think there was like a $100+ collector's edition for that game.
I mean, the guys that made the game, Ready at Dawn, did God of War, Chains of Olympus, Okami, God of War, Ghost of Sparta, God of War Origins, Deformers, Lone Echo, Echo Arena, Echo Combat, and then Lone Echo 2. So obviously the last 4 were for Oculus, but obviously they're not like necessarily a developer, I would say, that's going to be gone anytime soon. So maybe they will pull the trigger and do another one. But
I fucking hope so.
I think it's more of just Sony think it's necessary. Like, did Sony, obviously being an exclusive, like, was this game more like Sony be like, hey, we understand you guys have this idea, test the waters, only make it small. Don't go overboard with it. And then they kind of shot themselves in the foot because the game is it is good. I'm sorry. Like, it's a good game.
I mean, yeah. When you look at it, it kind of feels almost like just like a long movie.
Yes.
Like, it feels like a really long movie. And that's, I don't know. I just, as I look back on it, I don't have any, like, I don't look back on it and say I hated it. I really had a fun time with that game. So yeah, it just sucks that it got a bad rap.
Yeah, and there's definitely, like I said, before, and I'll say it now. Like, there's multiple times I've played that game and just I'm sitting there and I'm like, did the game freeze? And I'm like, oh no, like I have to move because literally the transition from cutscene to actual gameplay is almost flawless.
That's why I almost think there really aren't any. Like, I know it's technically a cutscene, but it's just all in engine. Like, it's not pre-rendered like some games will do, where they just pre-rig the cutscene. But it's all like in engine shit. That's like, it really shows you like and that was one of those few games too, where when they first announced it and teased it and then had like gameplay moments and trailers, it consistently looked the same like the whole time. Like, it never like looked really, really good and then came out and was pretty good, but not as good as in the trailers. Like, it always looked fucking mind-blowing from the get-go. So
yeah, it did. And like I said, just like reading real fast about it, because I can't. Everyone should play the game, especially now it's like $5. It said here. It said here on Wikipedia. The Order 1886 received mixed reviews from critics, with some praise particularly directed to the game's production value, graphics, and technical achievements. Like, yeah, and then literally, like you said, while most of the criticism came from the game's length, story, gameplay, replay value, and the player's involvement in the game. Like, I don't like the story is just a story. Like, it's you
don't have branching choices and shit like that. Yeah. It is like you are playing a character and that is it. Like, you are just, this is this person's story.
I mean, Uncharted has the same type of story. Like, it's a story.
Fucking great game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess with the Order, there really wasn't a whole mess of replayability because you played through it again. I mean, that's
a lot of games.
The same could be said with Uncharted. Like, you've played that story, it felt really good. Now you just want to go back and play it on a harder difficulty. Yeah, it's gonna be the same thing. Obviously, your encounters with enemies might go differently, but it is still at its core the same exact fucking thing. Just played.
I mean, people were saying about the gameplay too. Like, I have no gripe about the gameplay at all. I mean, maybe if I'm gonna super nitpick it, maybe like one of the stealth scenes I thought was kind of stupid, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like pulled me out for a hot second. But other than that, it gets right back into the action. There's guns, all over the place. Finding the gun that you like. I like the carbine thing. But yeah, I think that the fact that we said that the graphics, and obviously even here, they do say the production value, the graphics, and technical achievement, like, yeah, and the game holds up to nowadays standards.
Yeah, 100%.
Without a doubt. And, I really, I'm enjoying it. Besides that, I'm also playing Gears Tactics, which I'm taking my sweet ass time on because, I'm glad, not to say it's the only reason I got it, but it was a game I really wanted to play. And I like real-time strategy games, obviously, but I would never play it with a controller. Like, I need the keyboard. And, it's that. And
sure.
I'm enjoying it. It's a good game. It kind of reminds you, I'm assuming it's very much like, because I've never played it. What's the fucking Alien game that you've played? I thought you were
XCOM.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the same thing. And it's fun. I actually think that it's better than it's a nice change of pace since Gears of War 4. I didn't like Gears of War 4 at all. I haven't played Gears of War 5 yet. And this was like,
I remember when Gears of War 5 was coming out, you were like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great, and then you never talked about it.
I was like, fuck this. I mean, you know, it's because you want to talk about games that have a gameplay repetition, it's that series.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it's the same thing.
There's very little true variety.
Yeah, the only thing about tactics I would say is like it's definitely there's a lot going on the screen, and you know, especially when you're in like your barracks, like you have to click on each character. Like it's not unless I'm missing it, it doesn't notify you if like a character has a new like upgrade or if a character has a new like weapon mod. You literally have to go to the weapon mod and just like look through it and see if like you have
the
something
name
there.
Pops up.
Yeah, and even then, it doesn't really tell you. So that's kind of I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it is there. I'm just not recognizing it yet. But it's cool. It's a fun game. I'm enjoying it. So. What about you? What are you playing?
I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I bought that 13 Sentinels game by the new game by Vanillaware. Same people that did Dragon's Crown. They did Odin Sphere. You know, it's good. It's very plot heavy though. There's a lot of shit going on in that game, and I'm very, very still early into it. It's a big plot. Like this is like time travel, alternate dimensions.
Oh, really?
It's oh my god, it's fucking crazy. So I'm gonna have to really take my time with it. But so far, I like it. It's always visually those games. The people like Vanillaware make some of the best looking games. Like it's all hand drawn animation, and it's just that's fucking glorious to me. But apart from that, I've been playing Hades on the Switch, and I fucking love that shit.
Is it good?
It's amazing. And I'll just say this because because you can turn it off and on like at your leisure. There's a specific setting that you can turn on called God mode, where every time you die in this game, you get stronger. So if you're like, I really want to just like enjoy like the plot points of this game instead of just, you know, going through the brutal fight, die, rinse, repeat cycle. It's like every time you die, you get stronger. Like your defense gets higher, your attack strength gets better. Like it's actually kind of cool. Like it's just like, hey, listen, if you're just trying to play this game and just enjoy it, fucking hit the God mode and just go for it.
That's really cool feature.
Yeah. And it's not like you just put on God mode and you just can't be stopped. It's like, it's still like, I mean, I turned it on before because I was like, I want to see what it does. And I guess it actually clocks like how many times you've already died prior to turning it on.
Oh, really?
So it's like as soon as I hit the button, it was like God mode, defense resistance increases by like 28%. And I was like, oh shit. And then like I go to fight this enemy and it hits me and it does like 2 damage. I was like, all right. And then I think, yeah, man, I'm doing pretty good. And I get to the first boss fight, which I still haven't beaten yet. And I just got trashed. So really? I was like, cool. So it doesn't make it too easy for you, but it still gives you a nice little bit of an edge. But it's fucking fun. The voice acting is incredible, like every one of their games, and the music is awesome too. It's funny, the guy who voices the main character is also the guy that does all of the music for their games.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's fun. Honestly, I think you'd fucking like it too. It's a lot of fun.
I'm definitely going to pick it up. I was kind of hoping that the Mafia Definitive Collection wasn't going to score well, but it did score well. So now
it did, and I know, and I'm like, I'm sitting there. I was saying the same thing. I was sitting here yesterday, and I was going, fuck, should I buy Mafia? And I was like, no, I mean, but it's only $40. And I was like, fuck. And it did, like, it's at least an 8, I think. Most people are saying it's at least an 8, and they're like, I can't talk shit about it. Like the graphics aren't anything crazy, but they're definitely a massive improvement. They're so like the music is still there, the voice acting is still great, and the gameplay is definitely refined. Like ACG was like, it was so pleasantly surprised at how this remake turned out. So
yeah, I think
good on them.
I think the only thing I kind of heard negative about was I heard that the enemies are really bullet spongy.
Yeah,
like you like, light them up like a fucking Christmas tree, and they're just like still walking like the Terminator.
I was reading there was another article too, or like just a post on Reddit where I think some people were complaining that, I guess, because I never played the Mafia until Mafia 3, which is a really bad way to come into that series. That there was I guess there's like a race at some point early on in the game, like towards the very beginning of it, and some people were saying that I guess it required an update because the controls for the racing were not great. Something was up, and a lot of people were, complaining about that, which is understandable because you basically, if you can't complete the race, you at a brick wall. You can't really do much of anything else. So, but I think some people said there's like some workarounds for it, and they might be just like patching it coming up. But apart from that, I haven't really been seeing any complaints. I know GameSpot's review, they gave it like a 6.
Really? Those guys
yeah, well, they suck at it.
Yeah.
I know. There's no rhyme or reason to their reviews.
Right. And I did see that they did have a sim mode, some sort of sim mode for the driving where you could like make the driving more realistic or like more like arcadey. So maybe that's something that people didn't realize. But I did hear on IGN's review, like there is a mode where like if you go and turn the car, if you have the sim mode, it's like heavy to turn the car. Like you really have
and that might be why, because you're trying to drive. Granted, also, it's a game that you're playing where you're racing cars back in the fucking 20s. They were all giant, massive pieces of metal with very poor power steering, if anything at all. So I get it. But apart from that, fuck, I still think I should buy it. I'm not going to necessarily do it right now, but I might wait like a couple weeks and just get it like mid-October.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, I still got to get through the order. I want to get through Gears Tactics. I want to freaking play, Sleeping Dogs?
Yeah, I really hope you like that.
Yeah, I mean,
I really hope you like that.
I think I will. I don't see why I wouldn't. I watched a lot of it. It reminds me like of like kind of like what a Punisher game should look like, with how like you can like find like a glass and like shove the guy's head into a fan and like kill him.
Yeah. Well, just keep in mind that game is not super heavy on gunplay. It's mostly like martial arts, like you're fighting. So it kind of feels more like Batman, I guess, in that respect, like the Arkham games, like when you're fighting these people. But yeah, it's pretty cool when there's like you're just hanging out and like you're fighting a bunch of dudes and there's like a fucking wood chipper and you just fucking throw the dude's head of the wood chipper.
No, it's like so there's a lot. And again, by no means was I saying I wanted Mafia to score bad. I just kind of wanted to score bad to give me a reason
so
not
you didn't have to buy
it. But now I'm like, damn, like because I really wanted to play it. And it's kind of like Kingdom of Amalur, fuckers.
Well. Womp.
Luckily, I have the Xbox 360 version in the other room, so I will just stick with I'll stick with the original because again, even when I was like watching like the trailer for it, I was like, it just looks like the 360 version. Like they didn't do anything.
Yeah, I was never blown away by it, and it's so weird because that cinematic trailer they did, I was like, this looks like something from last generation.
100%. And I guess when you have a video game company that closes, I guess like how much
and it's owned by an old former Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, like how much are you really going to go into it? So, but whatever. So anyway, once again, this is Why Am I Nerd presents Alpha Beta Gold Games. You can follow us on Instagram at Why Am I Nerd Official, Facebook.com/Why Am I Nerd, and listen to new episodes every Monday on YouTube and your favorite podcast service. So obviously the big news this week is Microsoft buying Bethesda for $7.5 billion, which blows my mind that studio is worth more than Disney buying Star Wars, Disney buying Marvel.
Well, they bought they didn't buy Bethesda. They bought ZeniMax Studios, which is like the parent company that owns all of those studios, like Bethesda, Arcane. It's those studios.
They actually bought. So it'd be like
they bought the parent company,
like Disney buying fucking Marvel instead of Disney just buying like the Avengers.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. And that was.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No.
No, it's because when you read online, all they talk about is Microsoft buys Bethesda.
Because that's the biggest fucking studio under that umbrella, I guess you would say. That is the biggest, like Bethesda fucking Softworks is the biggest thing under that belt because that's fucking Doom and that's Skyrim and Fallout.
Yeah, so pretty much.
And Fallout.
Yeah, so ZeniMax is a company that owns ID Software, which is Doom, Quake, and Rage. Arcane Studios, which is Dishonored and Prey, Machine Games, which is Wolfenstein, Tango Games, which is The Evil Within, and then Bethesda, which is obviously Elder Scrolls and Fallout. So I think the big thing for me about this is like, first of all, do you think Sony knew about this deal?
Probably. They had to have some kind of idea. Usually when there's any kind of like merger or acquisition that's going to go on, it's not always kept the most secret. Like, a bigger company's going to know, because then they might have been, it wasn't necessarily, might have not just been Microsoft that was courting them. Maybe Sony was even considering buying all of them too. And then they were just like, whatever. And then Microsoft said, fuck it. Or maybe it was just that. Maybe Microsoft had been like, hey, we've been working together for a long time. Let's just bring it all under one umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did it. But I mean, lots of salt in the news after that was announced.
Meaning?
Well, because now everybody's, Microsoft people are like, oh man, talk about, just sticking it to the fucking Sony PlayStation people. Like, you guys have all your PlayStation exclusives that, you're really, really intense about, and you don't want them going anywhere else. And now you guys are probably never going to get to play half of the fucking new games that are going to come out from these studios.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, go ahead.
Whatever. No, whatever. I mean, as much as I played, the new Doom, the first Doom remake. It was all right, but it wasn't anything crazy to me. And then I tried playing the new fucking Eternal, and I got really bored of it really quickly.
That was a range to me.
That's not a fucking big deal to me. The biggest deal to me is Arcane, because if they make another Dishonored, I would really like to play that, but I'm not going to buy an Xbox just to play that. Same can be said for, which is probably the biggest fucking thing on that the list would be Elder Scrolls. Like,
do you think? I mean, obviously, like what I keep hearing, which again, this still doesn't make. I still don't get this. Is that like they're like, okay, well, now when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, you can either. The argument I always hear people say is that Microsoft will allow it to come out on PlayStation. Fine, makes sense. But they're like, you can either go buy it $60 on PS5, or you can just play it for $10 a month on Game Pass.
Well, then, I mean, if that's the case, then fuck it, cool. If it's still coming out on PS5, I'll pay the fucking $60. I was going to be paying $60 or $70 anyways for your fucking game.
Yeah, because you're not going to pay $500 to get an Xbox just to play the game for $10.
Exactly, and that's the other point too. Is if they said, actually, you know what, we're only going to put Elder Scrolls 6, whatever subtitle it would be called, on Xbox, Microsoft. Okay, that was the same case for fucking Skyrim. Skyrim was only on 360 for the longest fucking time, and then it literally didn't come out on the PS3 until fucking close to the end of the generation. And I remember playing. It was buggy as shit, and it really wasn't that great. And then I think I probably spent more time on it on fucking PS4. Mm-hmm. So listen, if that's up to Microsoft. If they don't want to fucking put it on a PlayStation, that's up to them. It's not going to kill me. As much as I might want to play it, I'll just fucking watch someone on YouTube play it and enjoy that instead. So I'd save myself $500 or $600, not buying another console.
I mean, even the Fallout. I personally like Fallout over Elder Scrolls. And I actually, for some reason, again, I get real weird with some games. I actually like playing Fallout better on a computer. I don't know why. I just feel like it controls better.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
for whatever reason. But I think that do you kind of feel like this is like a little bit of a monopoly?
Oh, anytime some big company acquires some other smaller company, or smaller quote unquote, because not to say ZeniMax wasn't big, but you always kind of look at it as is this potentially monopolistic. But these things kind of have to go under review. Like anytime somebody's going to buy a company, it's not like they can just say, hey, we're buying that company. It has to it has to be reviewed by like I think it's like the SEC and a bunch of other like federal commissions have to be make sure that this doesn't qualify as a monopoly. So my guess is it probably technically doesn't, because they just bought up a couple of studios that make games. Now it's up to them what they want to do. If they want to be dickheads, then they can. But the same could be said for, Sony. Sony acquired a bunch of studios in the last couple of years, and some of the games that they're making are specifically only for PlayStation. So that's just the game's business.
Yeah, I mean, I also feel that just kind of cap on what we said earlier about did you think Sony knew? Maybe they just didn't feel that this was really that much of a what's the word? Like they weren't that impressed by the deal. Like the games are great, fine, but they're not like, oh, this is gonna fucking ruin me. Like I'm not gonna get Fallout and Elder Scrolls. Like they're probably just like whatever. Like
I mean, think about that. The Elder Scrolls, like just like I'm saying, Elder Scrolls fucking Skyrim didn't come out on a Sony console until very late into the last generation. And then it was just ported again over onto PS4, and I'm sure it did fine then. And then there was ESO, which was not great right out of the gate. And it took a long time before it got good. And then Fallout 4, in truth, sucked. I really did not like Fallout 4. I really did not like it. And it's not because, I'm a PlayStation guy. I did not fucking like that game. Really, it was not. I think that game was fucking overhyped. And it, in truth, it really just looked like it was like a 1 point. It was like Fallout 3.5.
I would rather go back and play Fallout 3 than Fallout 4.
I loved Fallout 3.
I felt
I would play that again.
The base building in Fallout 4 was just so unnecessary. And like if you think about it, like Elder Scrolls, Skyrim. So Skyrim came out in 2011. We're now leading up to 2021, and
so
10 years later, and you still don't have Elder Scrolls 6. So hypothetically, let's just say Elder Scrolls 6 probably isn't going to come out until 2023, 2024.
I was going to say 2024 comfortably. I would say 2024. Anything before that is.
So you're still 4 years out.
Yeah.
So you're not making money on that for another 4 years,
Well, they said specifically, I guess a couple months back, that they were like, after they showed that teaser for Elder Scrolls 6, which was just, like the landscape of whatever region in the world of Tamriel it's going to be. And then they were like, hey, just a heads up, don't be looking for like more Elder Scrolls 6 news, because it's not going to be coming out for like a really fucking long time. And they're like, we're not even going to talk about it either, which is probably a good thing, because they should just keep their mouths shut like Nintendo does until it's like the bun is almost done in the oven and it's actually going to be something good. So most people should do that.
So it's like, what do they really actually end up like there's, because even just looking at like, the other studios, like, ID Software, like they don't have any games coming out anytime soon.
Next one from, so if you want to just say it now, because let's just say the deal's done and it's the next game coming out of Microsoft is the time game that I correct, Deathloop. Yeah, that's the next thing they've got coming out,
which is obviously coming out for both PS5 and Windows.
Yeah, and they said that they were like, oh, we'll honor that deal. That'll still be coming to the PS5. Well, fucking great, because it's already in development. Are you really just going to shit can that after you put that much money into it? So let's just say that's fine. That's the game that we know about. There's still plenty of other games that they probably just haven't announced yet, but still. Am I going to want to play them anyways? Who knows? Maybe not.
Right. And then there's that game Ghostwire Tokyo, which we had talked about when they showed the gameplay of it a couple, whatever the hell months ago, where we both thought it was a third-person game.
Yeah, and it's apparently a first-person. Fucking, you're walking around like fucking Doctor Strange doing like making magical hand signs.
Yeah,
like,
that was a bit of a throw. It was like, what? Like, not cool. I mean,
I'm out. I got to be honest with you. Based on that, I'm out.
Oh, I agree.
I'm 100% out now.
After I saw that, I was like, this is not for me. And apparently Deathloop is supposed to, they want it to be kind of more like Hitman, where you go into a scenario, you have, 5 or 6 ways to do it, and you have to just figure out different ways, which is apparently why Hitman was episodic.
Sounds like a cool fucking concept. I might give it a shot now. We'll see. The more I see about it, I know I was originally not convinced with it, but the more I see about it, I'm curious to see how it turns up. But
I'm not really too big on it. But I mean, I guess my thing is that to spend $7.5 billion on a fucking company that doesn't have
fucking money,
that you're realistically buying that company, you could probably say you're buying it for. I would say if you're then buying it, they're buying it for 4 games. They're buying it for Fallout. They're buying it for Doom, Wolfenstein, and Elder Scrolls.
Or Elder Scrolls in general, yeah.
That's probably the big 4 that they're buying. And you can even say that Wolfenstein and fucking Doom is like, essentially back in the day, in like the 90s when those games came out, they were the same fucking game. Just one of them you're shooting Nazis and the other one
you're shooting demons. That's it. Yeah, that's all it was.
And the character on the bottom looked different.
Yeah, and in truth, $7.5 billion for Microsoft isn't that much money, because, and I think they said that with this deal they paid in cash, because they've got a lot of cash reserves like at Microsoft, because unlike Sony, where Sony still makes like some TVs and stuff and other electronics, largely Sony is known now for PlayStation. Like that is their thing, whereas Microsoft is known for fucking so much else. Like this Xbox is only one small part of that company. So $7.5 billion is really just a fucking drop in the bucket, I imagine. And obviously, you don't look at it at $7.5 billion. It's a lot of money. You look at it, the bigger picture for the rest of fucking time now until they either decide, hey, we're tired of these companies and they sell them off, or they make fucking tons of money off of it. Granted, I'm sure it'll take them a very long time to make back $7.5 billion. But yeah, I mean, hey, listen, business perspective, solid move. Good on Microsoft. Knocked it out of the park, but
I guess my two things are this, and the first comment I'm going to say, I actually heard somebody else say it. I was listening to GameScoop, IGN's GameScoop podcast. I think the guy Sam said it. What happens when you turn on Deathloop and you see it on a PlayStation, and all of a sudden Microsoft's logo shows up?
Microsoft Studios. Yeah, well, that's what it's going to be.
So could you see PlayStation maybe being like, you know what, this Deathloop game really ain't that big of a fucking deal. We don't want it. Just like, take it back.
Could, but I think that's part of the involvement is like they're already involved with that studio developing it. So then you gotta cut and run, and then you're just at a loss, or you just say, fuck it, whatever, and then that's it, and then you just re-examine the relationship after that. So I don't know.
I feel like if that was the case for me, if I was Sony, I'd be like, okay, Deathloop is not even a game that's even ever been out before. It's not a game that it could bring revenue, it could not bring revenue. You know, it's like a rolling the dice. It's not like they'll be like, hey, Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out next year, and you're gonna either get it and you're gonna see Microsoft Studios right when you turn the game on your PlayStation.
Yeah,
and you know, that to me, that would be a game where Sony would probably be like, okay, we'll bite the bullet on this one. But a game like Deathloop or Ghostwire Tokyo, I'd be like, fucking take this shit back. Like, I don't want
it. Well, I think that was really funny. I don't know if it was related to this news or they had just said it recently. Microsoft then, was basically like, yeah, we don't feel with this, with our console, our upcoming consoles, that we need to rely on exclusive titles to sell our console. It's like, well, yeah, you shouldn't have to rely on those things to sell your console. You should be buying, in truth, people should be buying. I think it was going into the PS4, Xbox One generation. Who the fuck said it? But they were like, if you're going to buy a new console, buy where most of your friends are. If all of your friends have an Xbox, then get a fucking Xbox. If all of your friends have a PlayStation, get a fucking PlayStation. Or if you just don't care about playing with other people, then do whatever the fuck you want. But they're like, yeah, we don't need to rely on big exclusive titles. Yeah, sure, you don't need to, but it certainly fucking helps your sales for your console when people really want to play that next Last of Us game, next Uncharted, the next God of War, or just some brand new IP that looks really fucking cool, and you can only get it on that one console.
Yeah, I mean, let me just make sure before I say this.
And that is kind of ironic now because all of those titles that they just bought could become Microsoft exclusives. So they're you have Halo, you have Fable, but now it's like, cool. So now Doom is a Microsoft exclusive potentially. Whatever. All the future Elder Scrolls games, all Microsoft exclusives. And you just said you didn't need to rely on exclusives to sell your consoles? Okay, sure.
I think for me, the only games that really I'm kind of bummed out that would affect me based on is literally Fallout and maybe Elder Scrolls. I mean, I've said this before on this show, and I think we've talked about it. Oblivion was far superior than Skyrim for me.
I liked Oblivion more too.
And I think that would be like if they came out and said, hey, it's not Skyrim 2, it's like Oblivion 2. I'd be like, damn, like I kind of want to invest in playing that, rather than, and even Fallout, like Fallout 5. If they said, hey, Fallout 5's back. If they said Fallout New Vegas, I probably wouldn't do it. I am going to give it another shot because I can get it on Steam for like $4, $10. So, but I wasn't a big Fallout New Vegas guy. I liked Fallout 3, like I said, a lot better than all of them. So to me, the Fallout series kind of depends to what they do with it. But I guess my thing is, could Sony do something different and not different, similar to what Microsoft did? Could you see Sony ever being like, hey, we're going to buy Square Enix?
It wouldn't surprise me. Their relationship has lasted. They've had basically almost like a symbiotic relationship for as long as I've been alive, it feels like. Granted, I still remember the days when I was a kid and I got games and it was Squaresoft or Enix, not Square Enix. But no, they could. I mean, shit, dude, maybe they already laid the fucking foundation because it actually brings me to a fun little talking point that I read today. Final Fantasy 16 is a PlayStation exclusive.
It's not timed.
I'm not sure about. I feel like in that trailer it might have said it was a timed exclusive, but that being said, it's provisional right now. But apparently that game might be rated M for mature.
Really?
Which would be the first Final Fantasy game in history to have that kind of rating. Granted, provisional means between now and when that game comes out, it could be things be changed and then it goes back to being T for teen. But if that shit's rated M for mature, people are going to be dying brutally, and there's going to be like
that's awesome.
Probably rape and all sorts of horrifying shit in that game if they're rating it M, which I think is fucking awesome.
100%.
Not saying that rape is a good thing,
no,
or, murder, but like I'm saying, but a Final Fantasy game rated M for mature is
long overdue.
I am so crazy to see what that is because I've never seen that in my entire life. Sometimes, I've seen Final Fantasy games that are rated E.
Yeah,
so, E and T. Now we're gonna get a fucking Final Fantasy rated M. Please let me see that shit. Let me be scared by things in that game.
If Sony did want to, do a big fuck you to Microsoft, that's what I would do. I would go straight to freaking Square Enix and like, look, kind of looking back at our relationship, you can say starting from Final Fantasy VII for PlayStation 1, and moving forward, like it just, to me, I guess like what I'm trying to say is like Square Enix and PlayStation kind of feel like they should be together. And Bethesda and that type of game feel like it kind of should be towards Microsoft. Sure. You could just looking through the list of like games that, it's like, do you do a trade off then? Like, I've heard someone say that too. Like, hey, if Sony was to, let's say, purchase Square Enix, do you say, hey, look, you give us Doom, we'll give you Tomb Raider?
Yeah, well, but that's the other thing. So, that's where it's also kind of funny because Square Enix published Tomb Raider, but it was Crystal Dynamics that developed it. So then would Sony would then have to buy Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah.
Unless maybe they're already owned by, that's why it's like, you never know who, unless it's like in the news, you're never really paying attention. And it's like, they could be owned by anybody, but I don't know. I think when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, they put Kingdom Hearts 3 was on Xbox One, but I don't think it did very well. So, that game didn't do very well at all. But it's just that I think, that's another. Oh my God, this is so fucking relevant. So in Japan, they already lowered the price of the fucking Xbox Series S in Japan.
To what?
It's like $50 or like $100 cheaper already, or something like that. Because it's just. In truth, Microsoft consoles have never done well in Japan. They don't sell there. It just never works. So I don't even know why they decided to try to launch it in fucking Japan. But that was in the news the other day. They were like, we're already marking down the Xbox Series S because nobody wants to buy it.
Well, just going to the Final Fantasy 16 topic, what we said is during the original announcement, the game was also said to be releasing on Microsoft Windows. However, due to the release of the trailer released outside the PlayStation 5 event, specifies that the game is a timed console exclusive. This was then followed by a statement by video game analyst Pierre Harding-Rolls stating it will be a full exclusive for 6 months and a console exclusive for 12 months. The game has no release date, though.
Speaking of release date, though, Jason Schreier, we all know Jason Schreier, Mr. fucking knows everything in the industry, always has the best rumors and stuff. And it goes back to, I think, something I said last episode. This game has been in development for over 4 years already. I was
about to ask you, how far along do you think it is?
Yeah, they said they were like, he was talking on a podcast and he's like, people would be actually pleasantly surprised to know that this game isn't just freshly announced. They've been developing this game for over 4 years. And he even said too, he's like, you'll be surprised about when this game is going to be coming out. It's coming out a lot sooner than you think. So it could possibly be coming out next year.
Fall of next year? Holiday season?
I would say, I feel like that's probably the safest bet. Like to say it's coming out in like March would be kind of ridiculous because that didn't look like a trailer for a game that would necessarily be coming out in March. Granted, more.
You cut out. You're completely gone, just so you know. Oh, there you are.
Hello?
You're
check, good. Check. Cool. Okay. But yeah, it's coming out a lot sooner than we would think, according to Jason Schreier, and he usually knows what's up.
And the plot behind this game is a bit different than.
They're all different. They're all.
No, but isn't this some sort of like they're doing some sort of like old mythology. Aren't they bringing in like Greek mythology or something into this game?
I mean, I don't know why you'd bring Greek mythology into a game series where that mythology doesn't exist. But no, it looks like they're just going back to like old medieval style Final Fantasy, which is what most of them were. Some of the best ones were always the like medieval era type ones. And this is going back to that shit. A lot of the most recent ones have been more technologically advanced. Mm-hmm. This is going back to like straight up like medieval type, and that's very exciting. The last one I think that would have been medieval like that probably would have been 9 or like 6
online.
And we're talking
Final Fantasy Online.
Oh yeah, there is that too. Oh, that's another talking point right there. I don't know why we're just harping so much on Final Fantasy, but the development team that's making Final Fantasy 16 is actually a lot of people that worked on 14. That's why it looks similar to 14. So I think that's actually a very good thing. Like the people who've been working on Realm Reborn are working on this game. So I don't know. I'm excited. I like Final Fantasy.
No, so I thought it really looked really good, and I know a lot of people are saying that they're excited that the game actually is action. I forget what it
looks that like it's not. The combat looks like fucking Devil May Cry, like that. Just that little bit that they showed, it seems very fluid and very actiony. I mean, I know some people can get like with Final Fantasy 15. A lot of people gave them like the magic system in 15 shit because it wasn't like your normal kind of. Just you pick fire, you cast fire. It was like you could combine different magic spells and basically just like toss this giant elemental magic bomb. And I thought it was really fucking cool. Mm-hmm. But some people just don't want to evolve a little bit with these games. They want it to just always be the same shit. That's why I like them to experiment. Some things will work, some things won't. But that's the point of the series that's 30 fucking plus years old. You have to try some new shit. Otherwise it's going to get stale. And I think I was talking to Vita. Yeah, well, Vitaly, it was funny. After he saw that trailer, he's like, man, I think Final Fantasy just needs to die. And I was like, what are you talking about, dude? It doesn't need to die. They just need to try new shit. That's really it. They just have to try new things and see how it works. Mm-hmm. So,
I mean,
I'm in.
I mean, they're doing it with the Batman game. They decided to make a fucking Suicide Squad game, for God's sake. I mean.
Yeah. That's why. Who knows? Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But you gotta have some hits and you gotta have some misses. You can't always just be knocking at it out of the park, especially with a concept like that. Like Suicide Squad, if anything, has more potential to fail than it does to succeed. But if it succeeds, it opens the door for so much other cool shit that they could do. So I hope that game ends up working out.
Me too. It'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with that. At the end of the day. So, but before we move on, here's a quick word from our sponsor.
Ooh. Why Am I a Nerd podcast network has been brought to you by our sponsor, Me Moms. The best breakfast and lunch down the Jersey Shore with 3 great locations in Wall Township, Middletown, and Brick, New Jersey. Me Moms specializes in unique and fun takes on your traditional lunch and breakfast items. Open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can find more information at www.memoms.com.
Sponsor break. Yeah, Final Fantasy 16 though. I want more news about that game already. Like I want them to talk more about it.
Yeah, they have the other game. I think I was combining it with Final Fantasy 16 was I think of Greek mythologies. That one game, Gods and Monsters, where they changed the name to like.
Phoenix Phoenix Rising. Yeah, it's something really bizarre now. I guess we could just say we came back from the break.
Oh, we're back from the break. Yeah, we were breaking when you said sponsor break. That's how I'm starting it back on. So
cool.
But
that was
it's called
dumb. Phoenix Uprising or something like that. I mean, listen, I don't know. That game looks like it could be fun, but I don't know if it's something I'd buy day one.
What the hell? Phoenix Uprising?
Is that what it's called? Phoenix?
Hold on. Gods and Monsters.
Phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix. Well, that's what it was called.
It was originally called that, and then it's called Immortals Phoenix Rising. What's the point of that name change?
I don't know.
Like, there's no point of it.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that game. I don't want it to suck, but because I love Greek mythology, but I just don't know if it's going to end up being that great.
It looks like a mix of like everyone says it. It looks like a mix of Breath of the Wild and just like a cartoony open world game. And
well, that's go ahead.
I was like, the one thing I despise about Breath of the Wild, which is honestly, it's a reason I stopped playing it, was I hated the fucking fact that the weapons broke. I hate that system in a game. I think it's so fucking stupid. Like, oh, here's this really cool sword. You can use it 10 times. No. No.
Right.
Don't do that. You're going to come and find this really cool sword to make me work for the really cool sword. But don't tell me that's going to fucking break, because then I never use it. And by the time I end up using it, I got some other really cool sword. And that's honestly a thing that I would, if this game does that, I would have, not that this game has my attention like super hardcore, but if they were like, yeah, it doesn't have that, I might be like, all right, this might be something cool. But
I mean, what was the fucking, oh my
Kingdom
God,
of Amalur doesn't break their weapons.
Well, I mean, a lot of the Souls games have a factor like that where your weapons degrade over time. But like if they break, they just become temporarily useless, and then you just get a stone and then you fix them. It's not like they're gone forever, but it can be obviously problematic when you're fighting a boss and your fucking sword breaks and you can't use it, and then you've got to just die or try to switch to something else if you can. But no, I mean, I like Greek mythology, so I hope that game doesn't suck terribly. But
so yeah, I 100% agree with you. So I just popped on my screen. I'm really fucking confused by this. There's a Gears of War sealed Microsoft 360 2016 brand, not for resale, rare WATA, sealed 9.0 rating for 10 grand.
What is it?
Gears of War.
Who the fuck? What? Who cares?
But, yeah, who would want? I mean, the game's literally the game does say not for resale, which I don't know why. Do you know what WATA stands for? Me neither. Just says brand new, not for resale, or rare WATA sealed B+ rating for 10 grand. What? Who the fuck would? And then if you look at every other thing, it says other copies of this game, brand new, $15, open box $2, pre-owned $2.99. Where's this guy getting 10 grand from? Like, I'm so confused. Whatever, dude. I mean, good luck. I mean, this isn't fucking Mario All-Stars 3D All-Stars, which is back there in the corner, which is still in the
Oh, yeah, I'm still playing that, by the way, too. I'm just taking my time with it. I'm kind of jumping back and forth between all three of them.
Fuck that game.
No, you mean fuck one of those games and only fuck one portion of one of those games?
Fuck that. Fuck that with all the fucking there possibly is. But no, now I need to figure out what the hell this whole, like, why this game is so...
Probably because it was like a copy of the game that was like... It came like... It was like the studio that made the game, and it's... I don't fucking know. It's just something that, like... literally, they're probably never gonna fucking sell that thing for $10,000.
No, and apparently WATA is like when you send like a comic to get like the comic certificate.
So it's just like the fucking certificate of.
It's a graded Gears of War 1 that's worth 10 grand. Cool. Well, guess what?
Who cares?
I'm gonna get that graded. I'm gonna say it's worth 10 grand in fucking 6 years.
That's why, like, you could do that for any fucking game if it's sealed and you go and you get it graded, but like. Why? Who cares? It's Gears of War 1. Like, it's not like if you were telling me it was a fucking copy of, like, Vitaly sent me a picture recently of a copy, like a sealed in-box, high-graded SNES, like Japanese copy of Chrono Trigger, and it wasn't even that much money. I don't think. Like, it wasn't even at $10,000. It was expensive as shit. It might have been like $700 or $800, but like. What assholes charging 10 grand for a copy of fucking Gears of War?
There was the video game shop in fucking Asbury, Killscreen. They had a restaurant something or other from NES for sale for like $1,200. I don't know what the hell it was. I don't know what the game was. Restaurant. And it was funny. I was listening to a Gamescast podcast and they were talking about the game. I was like, oh, I just saw this game there. It was like 10 grand or $1,200.
So this is WATA graded as well. Chrono Trigger, Super Nintendo, CIB complete. Okay, so inbox. I guess CIB means something inbox. Complete SNES, WATA WATA graded 8.0, very good condition, $1,300. You're telling me that this
right?
Chrono Trigger is a fucking masterpiece compared to Gears of War, and it's just slightly over 1/10 of the cost of that Gears of War copy. What the fuck?
That guy's a bonehead. Look, seriously, man, I don't know who you are, but you're a fucking idiot.
I would buy it if I had the like fuck you money and I was like a bazillionaire. I'd buy it and then I would just burn it and send him a video
of the game. Yeah, I mean,
I would just get the thing in the mail and I'd burn the package and just send him the video. He still got his money, so he can laugh all the way to the bank, but I would still burn it just because.
Yeah, like, man, what? This is, and he's charging you $20 for shipping.
What the fuck? Because you probably have to put it in like a really secure box so that it doesn't arrive damaged. But that's the other thing too, is it could still get damaged in transit, and then it's not a 10 when it arrives to me or whatever fucking grade it was.
Bro, all right, I'm changing the entire script of this show. I'm just gonna go over this guy's video games that he's fucking selling on eBay. Cause what the fuck?
Ooh.
So
we'll do a reaction cam with my face.
26 games on here. So number 1 he's got is Shepherd's Crossing 2. Nintendo DS for $300.
I don't even know what that is.
College Hoops 2K8 for $500. Chicken Hunter for Nintendo.
Whoa, Chicken Hunter! Is that a Wii game?
For Nintendo DS.
Oh, okay.
For $200. Nintendo GameCube's Cars with cheat codes, $400. Whoa.
Can I use cheats to get the price down?
Jump Start Legend of Lost Island for Nintendo DS 2011. The Holy Grail for $2,000.
Whoa. What is this guy's deal? Does he have like a high rating as like a reseller? Is he fucking in the tank? Is he like in the like fucking toilet?
Hold on, I'm not done yet. I'm still going through this because this is blowing my mind. You got the $10,000 Gears of War. You got Nintendo DS 2-in-1 combo pack of Madagascar and Shrek for $1,200.
Wait a minute. Dude, we had that at GameStop, dude. I can leave this there for like $5.
Well, you better go find one. You can barely sell $1,200. Monster Rancher DS for $200.
I know Monster Rancher. For how much?
$200.
I guess that's respectable because those aren't like super big games, so it's kind of hard to find.
The Settlers for $125.
He's charging $100 for the Settlers of Catan. I could go to fucking Barnes and Noble and get that.
Yeah, just the
Settlers.
Just as the Settlers, and it looks like that. And then he's got another Shepherd's Crossing that is selling $500. But then wait, what? But then he's selling a brand new WADA rating of a 9.4 A+ sealed Gears of War for $3,400.
This is ridiculous. I feel like we've just gone down a really weird rabbit hole with this guy.
What? I'm so confused. He's literally selling the Gears of War one, the other one, which is a 9.0. The $10,000 one's a 9.0 and a B+, but because it says not for resale on the bottom of it, he's selling it for $10,000, and he's selling the regular one.
That guy's living dangerously because he's reselling it, and that's fucking exactly what it says not to do. Like, is he breaking the law big time?
I mean, this guy, bro, does he? And yes, he's a 100%. His positive feedback is 100%.
Get the fuck out!
Swear to God. And he's sold over 200. He has over 1,200 reviews, and he's sold over 288 things. So
wow. So I guess he's maybe doing something right.
Yeah, but on that note, I have nothing.
My brain is broken. I literally, and that's not because I'm a PlayStation person for first and foremost, but like I just don't know if I'd ever want to spend $10,000 on one fucking game.
Especially Gears of War.
That's crazy. Especially Gears of War. Yeah, because no offense, Gears of War as a series is all around not that great. And I played all the first 3, which I think after the third one, it kind of became kind of shit. Really shit. And they're just not that great.
It's the same game.
So, Cameron, go spend $10,000 and fucking buy that shit
No way, I still got my $2,100 Batman statue coming in next year.
Oh, I thought that was coming out this year.
That's next year, but who knows? It's supposed to be April of next year, but I guess it's probably gonna get pushed to like.
Wait to see that shit.
Me neither, and I don't know where the fuck I'm putting it still. I'm still trying to figure out where this.
Big.
It is. It's like the size of like literally half my kitchen table's in thirds, and it's literally the size of a third of my kitchen table.
That's whack, dude. The thing is massive.
It's gonna be a nice centerpiece. Watch me get it, and it's the size of like.
It's like a water bottle.
It's like this guy.
It'd be so disappointing.
I'd be so mad.
$2,100 for that. It's so disappointing, but that statue does look fucking sick, though, that you're getting. I remember that thing.
Yeah, if everyone wants to know what we're talking about, it's the Viking Batman statue fighting the dragon version of the Joker by Prime 1 Studios.
So fucking cool. It's really fucking cool. Yeah, it's pretty fucking sweet.
There's three different versions of it. And if you guys are saying, well, it's actually $1,800, it is only $1,800, but the shipping is $300 on the fucking thing.
Because it's got to be shipped probably like on a fucking pallet so that it doesn't get damaged in transit.
Yeah. Well, the best is if I wanted it to come earlier, so this year, which I know for a fact it's not getting shipped this year, because there's no way, you had to pay $600.
Woo!
I was like,
no thanks.
I'll wait the extra fucking 6 months, and I think I could save.
That's $600. A whole Xbox Series X1X
for a fucking statue. I'm just gonna stare at me like I own that.
You do. I mean, you own that one.
Oh yeah,
you own that one, and you own that one, and then you own that little Joker down there,
and all these guys over here.
And that one, and is that Aquaman in the background, or is that Robin?
That's Aquaman back there. He's just standing there staring at me. I tried to change his pose because he looked like he was taking a shit before, but he's good now.
Cool.
I got.
He kind of looks like Gandalf from out because he's so out of focus. He looks almost like Gandalf.
I got John Wick Mezco down there. I haven't even opened the fucking brown box yet. I got Thor down there too. I got a bunch of shit. My room
went from the game. This went from the games cast to the talk shit cast to the comic cast to fucking to the comic cast.
Fair enough. I guess on that note, we should wrap it up. But real fast, I do want to say I did think it was funny that I did text you. We briefly said about this. It's just a patent with PlayStation VR, and I was like, that thing needs fucking joysticks, and the patent came out and had fucking joysticks.
It is. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That was the thing I was going to say too with that topic is that only one fucking that article, that person who wrote that article was literally the only fucking person talking about that shit that I could see. And it's just a patent. When somebody makes something and they go, this might be potentially marketable and we can make a lot of money off this, they're going to patent that shit to save themselves. So
I think is
it going to be real? Who knows? But yes, they should have fucking joysticks. Yes, definitely.
Do you think that if they do it, do you think you'll be allowed to play old PlayStation VR games with it?
Probably. I feel like they need to, even probably more so than just with your console in general with VR2 or whatever it's called. It needs to be backwards compatible with VR, just be basic VR1 shit. It really should be. Otherwise, you're going to have people having two fucking VRs around, and they're not going to do it. And then you're really alienating a lot of people. Like my cousin got me my VR last Christmas. I finally I'm getting close. I played yesterday. I'm getting really close to beating Blood and Truth, and I started finally playing Astro, and I fucking love Astro Rescue Mission. Right? It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. But I'm trying to get done with some of these games because once I go to PS5, it's digital, so I got to get rid of some. These are it's like one of the only things I have a disc is Blood and Truth, and then but I'm not saying that I'm not trading in my PS4 right away. Like it's going to be around for a while, but it would really suck this thing that I just got a year ago if they say, yeah, PSVR 2 comes out in 2021, but it's not backwards compatible. So I got to have two fucking VR headsets. Yeah. No, unfortunately, I would just have to upgrade to the next one, and then that's it.
I know the Quest 2 is supposed to be amazing. It's really good. It's scoring really well. So, props to Facebook, I guess, for coming up with that and pulling that one off. Mm-hmm. But, I think the joysticks would help a lot because I do think that, playing the Walking Dead Saints Sinners game, I was getting nauseous from playing it because, it's cool that you get to walk, but I didn't really like how it turned. And, I'm not saying, I guess for me, I think the game would make me less sick if I was able to control it with my, with the joysticks. But that game, rather than just having to turn my head, it would be nice to be able to turn it. But unfortunately, that game, you do have to fucking, actually
kind of get into it.
Yeah. So, but
okay.
that'll be it. So once again, this is Why Am I Nerd presents Alphabetical Games. You can follow us on Instagram at Why Am I Nerd Official, Facebook.com/Why Am I Nerd, and listen to new episodes every Monday on YouTube and your favorite podcast service. So hopefully we have some interesting news come out this week. I don't know. I guess we'll find out what the hell's what's up for next week. Because again, all the pre-order stuff's taken care of now. So I guess
now we wait. Now
is
the fucking waiting game.
Now it's waiting and figuring out, who. I guess the next big thing will be who gets pre-orders up first for the second wave, Xbox or Sony. So
we'll see.
Till next time, we're out.